Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Rhyme of the Times for the week ending 3rd of May 2025. For Labour and Tories, reality dawns as British politics is transformed by reform who take Runcorn. Harry seems forlorn and has public opinion torn. Trump is treated with scorn and warned not to park his tanks on Canada's lawn. London temperature well above the norm. Blair causes a storm. The writing had been on the wall all right, and on Thursday we found the writing was right. For Tories and Labour it was a brutal night, waking Friday to a devastating sight. A new political scene provided quite a fright. The realisation of a new dawn began to bite. And as they realised the size of their plight, big celebrations were breaking out on the right. Two-party politics in disarray, blown away by the winds of change, a new message to convey. In fact, a duopoly may still be in play, but with the Tories replaced by Reform UK. That's certainly what Nigel Farage would say after Thursday's local election day. While the Tories lost all 16 councils they'd held, from 0 to 10 Reform councils were propelled. And to add to Labour and Tory nightmares, Reform UK now has its first couple of mayors. And in the only by-election of the day, by just 6 votes, Reform UK held sway. The Labour safe seat of Runcorn and Helsby now has its first ever Reform MP. Sir Keir and Kemi had their spin prepared, with excuses and apologies for how they had fared. But the damage is done with these results declared. Can it be repaired, and will the leaders be spared? They probably both should be pretty scared, while for Farage it's a case of he who dared. When a country has a neighbour going slightly balmy and is getting battered by a tariff tsunami, by a leader always looking for a Barney, it needs a grown-up to act strongly and calmly. So Canadians chose their PM as Mark Carney, 'cause he can handle Donald Trump, can't he? On Monday he and his Liberals were elected, and many people immediately reflected on how Trump had effectively scored an own goal by ensuring the Liberals stayed in control when they had no hope just a month before this poll. Trump's bullion of Mark kept him in his role, 'cause Canadians were impressed with how he stood his ground and didn't let the USA push them around. On Tuesday we reached the 100th day since Trump's second coming in the USA, the day when the world order, some may say, began its descent into disarray. In terms of his top team, his first 100 days was an uncharacteristically undisturbed phase. But once day 100 had been reached, it seems the dam of tranquility was breached. It didn't take long for Mike Wartz to be released, the first casualty of the president's caprice. To be fair, the rationale for him getting the boot, no one could seriously refute or dispute. The question is, why did it take so long to act before the national security chief was sacked? Letting a journo join a government WhatsApp group was his unforgivable bloop. Also, Elon Musk, with his Doge chain soar, seems to be on his way out of the White House door. His government work is becoming part-time as he focuses on reversing Tesla's decline. Meanwhile, a rare earth deal was finally aligned so that Ukraine and the US could both have it signed. Now raw materials from Ukrainian soil will be mined, and Russian designs on the land will be undermined. Well, that's the wish of the West, that's the theory. The Kremlin's silence is perhaps a bit eerie. When Prince Harry left the royals 5 years ago, there were many things that he had to forego. Police protection for his family in Britain was one, and this week he tried to get that ruling undone. Even though Harry insisted he'd foot the bill, the royal courts of justice were unmoved still. To wear soiled linen in public is a faux pas, and for some Harry's already gone way too far. Friday's chat with the Beeb was almost bizarre. Despite playing the victim and opening up old scars, he wants the door of reconciliation left ajar, which for the king and others will probably jar, coming from a son who carps from afar instead of living quietly off the public radar. These days Tony Blair barely gets a mention, but on Tuesday he made quite an intervention. His view that net zero targets are doomed to fail for many people was simply beyond the pale. His rationale is that the public just won't follow if they feel the costs are too hard to swallow. Toned it down after Number 10 phoned, but of course Blair's cover had already been blown. A blackout on the Iberian Peninsula left Portugal and Spain feeling pretty insular. With widespread chaos in businesses and homes, the cause of Monday's power cut is still unknown. So far, sabotage seems to have been ruled out, whereas in Britain it was foul play, no doubt, that caused M&S to have their computers hacked. Then the Co-op and Harrods were also attacked. On the day it felt like the best, but was possibly the worst. By some distance, Britain's hottest ever, May the 1st. Beating the previous record was quite a breeze for London with 29.3 degrees. For climate observers, a source of some unease.